Hello everyone and welcome to Late Night Lies. I'm Dr. Caroline Heim and this is Dr. Christian Heim on piano. Welcome to our pod show for preventative mental health. And tonight's lie is, I have to change my personality to succeed. Okay.
Well, just to get on in life.
Yeah, okay, so do we? Yeah. We have to change our personality to succeed?
Well, I suppose that's the lie.
That's the lie,
so
okay.
What we're saying is, what I'm saying is that you do not. But there is a perception out there, I believe, that we have to change our personality. We're not happy with who we are, so can we please change who we are?
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that. Welcome everyone, old friends and new. We're really, really glad that you joined us today. And if you have any questions or comments during our discussion, please pop them in the chat right next to you on the screen. Or if you're looking later, you can put them in the comments. We actually have some questions, a question that came in during the week that we will be answering a bit later in the show. And we finish off with some music and we have a bit of a treat of a reading for today too on personality. On personality? Oh, it's just a reading. You'll enjoy it though, it's fiction.
But I will use it to talk about personality and where we're going in the hope section.
Okay, great. So we're going to jump right into the questions. Actually,
we're going
to leap right into the questions.
Good.
Okay.
I feel better about
We
that.
really need to start off with some definitions. So what is a personality? Dr. Heim, what is a personality? Come on, give it to us.
I don't know. All right, so we do have definitions for personality, but the thing about a personality is that you cannot see it. We don't even know where in the brain a personality is. So we're defining something that is very, very abstract, but very, very real for each of us.
Yeah.
So here is a definition.
Give it to us.
A psychologically defined version of personality. Okay.
Yes, what is
So
it?
a personality is a pervasive and enduring pattern of thinking, feeling, and behaving, and relating to the world, other people, and yourself.
So that's your definition, is it?
Well, that's kind of a psychology definition of what personality is.
Okay.
Most psychologists would agree with a definition that's pretty close to that.
So a pattern that's actually in us?
Yes.
Aha. Okay, all right.
So a pattern of thinking, feeling, and acting.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So everyone
I'm
looks...
happy with that. This is good.
Well, I am.
I think this is the first time you just accepted a definition.
I'm not that picky, really.
No, it's all right. Yeah.
Okay, so the questions that you don't know about. Okay,
I
so
don't know that.
everyone looks up personality types. We all do, especially Myers-Briggs and all of that. We're always looking on the internet, what's my personality, okay? Why are we so obsessed with personality? Is it comforting to be known? Is that why? Why do we want to know and put ourselves in a box and say, oh, I know that about me?
There's a few reasons for this. First of all, because I believe the personality is unknown, it's good to have some sort of an idea of who am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? What sort of personality am I? And the other thing is that we do see and we look at other people's personality and we think, oh, she's got a good personality. He's got a good personality. I wish I was a little bit like him.
Yeah.
So we do research to see what can we do to change what we have.
Yeah.
But that's what we're confronting today, the idea that we need to change our personality.
Okay, yeah, that's true. We are. Okay, so the lie, I have to change my personality to succeed, actually implies a good personality type and a bad, doesn't it?
Yes, it
does. Is
does.
that true? Or
It
is it a
does.
lie?
It does.
Because you were already talking about that, saying, you know, someone's got a good personality, I'd like to be like that, yeah.
But I suppose that's the way of thinking that I'd like us to move away from.
Okay.
What we really get upset about is personality clashes.
True.
When we don't get on with somebody.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'll actually illustrate this musically, all right? Let's say that you are this sort of a personality. And so you get on with other personalities that sound kind of the same.
Yeah.
Okay? Or that are not too far away. All right? So that's you, the personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to take somebody else as a personality. This person is a personality. This personality gets on with personalities like this, like that, like this, and they can find a group of people that they get on with. But let's take this person together with this person, and we put them together.
Ooh. Clash.
And it's like, okay, what we want you to become like this, or you to become like that. And so how do you get two people that are clashing to sound well together?
Okay.
And so I'm going to look at some of the derivations of the word personality, all right?
Yes.
Because we get the word personality from the Greek word for mask.
Okay, yeah.
So we all carry a mask. So in other words, that already tells us that our personality is not our true selves. It is something that we see the world through, or we put to the world as a mask how we want to be seen.
So it's actually constructed. It's something we construct, or
Well, according to that word.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
It actually isn't, and I'll get onto the genetics.
According to the Greek word.
According to the Greek word,
okay,
right? So it's something that we look at the world through.
Okay.
But there's another derivation of the word, and this is a derivation from Latin, and it's per sonare. And sonare in Latin means sounding, and per is through. So it's the way you sound through, all right? So the kind of vibration that you make, the kind of sound that you as a person make, and to talk about how we get on in our personalities with other people, we actually use a lot of musical words. What you say really resonates with me.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, that's a real clash. Okay,
Yeah.
We just really clash when we get together. Oh, I'm really sympathetic with that person, and that word sympathetic is like the word symphony. It's sounding together.
Oh,
right?
lovely.
Or,
yeah.
No, we're just dissonant. That person, I get a strange vibe around that person.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all those sort of things are talking about the musicality of personality.
Or I'm really in tune with what's going on here.
That's right.
You know,
I'm really in tune.
I'm attuned to things. That's actually a Heidegger term.
A Heidegger term.
Yeah,
okay, so we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the same wavelength with that one, yeah?
Yeah, well, we are, with that one, yeah.
And there's this interesting word called temperament.
Oh, right? Yes, that's a lovely word.
Now,
it's an old-fashioned word, isn't it, though? Temperament?
What?
Well, we don't use temperament. What's their temperament? What's their personality is what we tend to use instead.
Well, I was thinking about temperament as far as music's concerned.
Oh, okay, sorry, go ahead.
That's right, but you see there's an example of where we weren't on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You were thinking about the personality word, and I was thinking about the musical word.
True.
But we use the same word. This is the whole thing.
But we're often not on the same wavelength.
Yeah, that's right. That's because
We often not.
Right, we'll get to that one. All right, so let's look at temperament in the way that you were thinking of it.
Yes.
As part of personality. The way that psychiatrists think of personality is that there's a part of personality that is inherited, and there's a part of personality that develops as you live through your life experiences.
Yes.
Okay. So the part of temperament, of personality that's inherited, is what we call temperament.
Okay.
So a child, 6 years old, in psychiatry terms, does not have a formed personality yet. But we can see their temperament. We can see if they're ambitious, if they're sort of outgoing, okay, if they're slightly aggressive
or a rebel
aloof,
or naughty or whatever it happens to be.
Right.
Yeah.
You like these things,
or a
don't
people
you?
pleaser.
Or a people pleaser,
You
that's
can
right.
already see it from really young.
You can already see it. And that's the temperament, and that
Okay.
is the inherited part of personality. But the other side of personality is from your lived experience.
Okay.
And so I suppose in a way I'm in the business of fixing personalities that have been hurt by trauma. Because people who have childhood trauma, things that happen really early in life that leave an emotional scar, have a personality that they know doesn't quite work for them. And so we actually work on that. And it's hard work, all right? And so we call that character. So basically the inherited temperament with the character that you learn goes up to make a fully formed personality which emerges somewhere between the ages of 16 and 26, right? Around there the personality is formed.
Okay.
However, you were thinking about that, I was thinking about the musical word temperament.
Yes, go ahead.
Because when a piano tuner tunes a piano, there are little subtleties in how you can tune that. You can tune some notes just a little bit higher and just a little bit lower, and it gives a different quality to all of the music. It gets very, very technical. But we call that temperament. And it's a way that all these notes from a scale fit in with each other. So in other words, it's like inherited. It sort of stays there. It's part of the way music works. And so what I was trying to illustrate from that is still that connection between music and personality.
Okay, great.
So it's all very musical.
It is. It's all very musical. Okay, so you're talking about the inherited part, and then you're talking about the part that we construct, or it's influenced by our environment. Is it influenced by our upbringing, our parents, and things like that?
All of those things.
All of those things.
Anything that happens to you as a
and
person.
And events, obviously.
And events will find their way into your personality.
Okay.
So anything that you put into your brain will eventually find its way into your personality. So what goes in will also come out.
Okay. All right then. So there's part that is inherited. And can we change that part that's inherited, or?
All right, now I'm going to use a few more analogies, but no, I'll go to a scientific study once. This is a scientific study that came out about 15 years ago, because the question has always been, where is the personality?
Yes.
Right, and the bottom line is, we don't know. However, what this study showed was that people who get a heart and lung transplant, because often what surgeons do is rather than just put in a heart or just put in a set of lungs, because the connection between the heart and the lungs is really very complex, they'll just say, all right, we'll just take the heart and a lung and lungs from somebody and we'll put the whole lot in.
Okay.
All right. So that's a big chunk of somebody else's body going into you. Okay, so that's a marvel by itself. But what this study showed was that people who have had that operation start showing personality traits of the people who were the donors for the heart and lung.
Wow.
Now,
so it's inherent. It's actually right there. It's actually in the cells, in the DNA.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's in the cells, it's in the DNA. And if we start mixing huge slabs of people into another person, they'll start taking on that personality. So what that tells us, or at least suggests, it doesn't tell us, suggests that the personality is not in the brain, but that the personality is in each and every cell. Each part of our DNA has our temperament inscribed on it.
Yes, so the temperament, the inherited part inscribed on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's really fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Is there a clash there? I'm wondering. One personality comes in and it mixes, a very choleric with a very melancholic if they're one extreme and the other, and what happens there? I mean, how interesting.
The science doesn't go that far.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you'd have to track that person. And, my gosh, anyway, but so interesting. Okay, all right. Let's go back to the lie though, okay, because the lie is I have to change my personality to succeed. So again, in definitions, before we really get nut into the lie, let's look at succeed. What is success?
Well, okay, that's a completely huge topic.
I know it is.
Itself.
I know.
All right.
I just wanted
As a
to bring it up.
psychiatrist, this is what I look for. I look for three things for success. Okay, getting on with people. There is almost nobody that I have ever seen where it doesn't come up in conversation. How are you getting on with your parents, with your children, with your love partner, with your friends? Okay, part of what we consider to be success is functioning human relationships.
Yeah.
Now, human relationships are a challenge for all of us, all right? So let me not pretend that this is an easy area. But if people have real problems in this area, let's say a mother is a mother for a lifetime. So if you have an acrimonious relationship with your mum, it's going to affect your life, and you'll actually want to know what you can do about that. Okay, so number one is relationships.
Yes.
Number two is contribution. Basically, everybody wants to do something to be part of society. Have a job, support other people, volunteer, take care of children, develop an interest, be an artist, develop something that you contribute to all of society. So in a way, it's relationship to all of society. You want to be able to fit in somehow.
So that's number two, a contribution of some sort.
A contribution of some sort. Because
purpose-filled life,
Yeah, well, not quite purpose.
Okay,
but
all right,
contributing, because purpose is kind of part of number three.
Yeah,
right?
okay, all right then.
But number two is contributing. People who have jobs, for example, underestimate the wonderful feeling of being useful. Even if you hate your job, right, you will be doing something where somebody goes, okay, great, I need that. Can I have that done? And you will be making a difference to somebody somewhere, and that feels amazing. Just as people who haven't had a job for a long time.
Yeah, especially during COVID.
Nobody wants to feel useless.
Okay.
In fact, if you are unemployed, one of the best feelings you can give yourself is find something useful to do. Now, that's not easy. You've got to look around yourself or perhaps online. But
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2 is contribution.
Number 3 is meaning.
Meaning in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I know that we've got prominent scientists saying that life is meaningless. It's just that nobody actually experiences life that way.
It's true. I mean, and how depressing too.
That's
I mean, really.
That's right. And if people actually believe that life is meaningless, they will spend time trying to find some meaning for themselves.
Yes, yes.
And the beauty of meaning is that we get to choose ourselves what meaning actually is.
Okay.
And yes, I spent a lot of time with people talking about what does life mean to you?
Yeah.
So where do you find your purpose? Because purpose is being useful, contributing, but with a bit of meaning attached.
Okay, so from a psychological point of view, and when you're in your office with people that you see,
Yes.
the 3 things are for success, what you sort of package as success.
Success as a functional human being.
Okay, as a
That's what we
functional
want,
human
a
being.
functional human being.
Yeah,
are getting on with people,
Yes.
making a contribution,
Yes.
and finding meaning in your life.
Okay, good. All right. So we've got our definition of personality. We like our definitions. We've got our definition of success. Okay. Let's look at the actual lie. Okay, which is. Do we have to change our personality to succeed?
Yes.
Okay. So, what are you going to say to that?
All right, so we have a bit of a science of personality. There are different personality systems.
Yes.
Long ago, Hippocrates came up with this idea that there are some people that are a bit melancholic. They are reflective, but they will look on the negative of life. Okay?
Yes.
And there are some people who are choleric. They like the energy. Give me something new. Some people who are sanguine. They like getting rewards, feeling good. And other people who are persistent, or what he called phlegmatic.
Yes.
Now, Hippocrates was amazing, all right? But the way that he thought of it was in terms of fluid in the body.
Yeah.
Melancholic means black bile. Phlegmatic means phlegm, right? Choleric means yellow bile, and sanguine means blood. So he kind of put these 4 types of personality according to 4 types of fluids in the body.
Great. Let's do it with fluids. Yeah. I mean, really.
Ooh,
Did I just say something? How embarrassing.
But of course, this is Hippocrates' idea. He didn't have science behind it. Like, we don't know why, let's say, urine doesn't make it as part of a personality.
Yeah, that's right,
type.
exactly.
Okay, not very good. Okay. So we got some more science behind it later that. Last century, actually. The person who worked a lot with personality was Carl Jung.
Yes.
And Jung saw that people's personality was kind of fixed. And he saw that there were dichotomies, and he saw that there was nothing better or worse about having a certain personality.
Okay.
So he decided to look at personality in the brain just as he would handedness. There are some right-handed people and there are some left-handed people. It's not better to be right-handed, it's not better to be left-handed, it's just different. So he noticed that there were some people that would think about life and make decisions based on thinking about it, and he would see that other people would use their feelings to make decisions. So he saw this as a dichotomy. Are you a thinking or a feeling person?
Yeah.
He also saw that some people were extroverts. They get their energy from people and from action. And other people were introverts. They get their energy from being alone or in nature.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also saw that some people process information differently.
Yeah.
Right? And so he looked at some people who are sensing, and these are concrete thinkers. If I see it, I can believe it. Or other people that were more intuitive. I've got a hunch.
Yeah,
I can see
yeah,
patterns.
yeah.
I can see an abstract idea here. And it's a very different way of looking at the world and processing information.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward about 30 or 40 years, and we get to what's called the Myers-Briggs Personality Inventory.
Yep.
And they basically went for this as a mother and daughter team, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And they took Carl Jung's ideas and added what's called a judging or percepting.
Perceiving.
Perceiving.
Yes.
Yeah. Perceiving dimension, where some people like to have things done and problems solved.
Yes.
Okay. So if we're out of harmony, it's sort of like, okay, let's have a quick talk about this, see what's going on, and get back into it, otherwise we
Yeah.
just can't get on with life.
That's right,
So
yeah.
we are both judging people.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas being a perception-orientated person or a perceiving person are people who can leave things up in the air. Okay, yeah, we'll just sort of go with the flow a bit.
See what
We'll
happens.
just see what happens.
See
right?
what happens. Yeah.
And so through that you get 16 types of
Yeah, yeah.
personality. However, not a great deal of science behind it, except for Carl Jung's
interesting.
insights.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and that does count as science.
Yeah.
Because what he did was he saw people and got to know them in depth. So he got right into the mind.
Yeah.
Okay. What we use now is what's called the Big Five personality inventory, where we see people and rank them as regarding their openness to new ideas, their conscientiousness in getting things done, their extroversion or introversion, their agreeableness, or no, they rub people up the wrong way, and their neuroticism. And by neuroticism, we mean their tendency to express their negative emotions. Now, an important distinction here, we all experience negative emotions.
Yes.
But some people will express them a lot, in which case they're being honest with the people around them.
It's true. It's just honesty. Yeah.
Or some people won't express them
Yeah.
much. And in a sense, they're being kind to the people around them.
Yeah.
To find this balance between being honest and kind is really quite difficult. But
Okay.
it's got a lot of science behind it.
Okay. So where are you going with all of this? You've given us all the different personality
I
types.
have.
Yes.
I'm coming up to this idea, do we have to change our personality to succeed? Because we look at all these classifications and all this information is online, and we get to know that, the people that make it in life, the people who make a lot of money, are very conscientious, and they're
extroverts,
disagreeable, and they're extroverts. Yes,
that's right.
So I want to be an extrovert, and I want to be a bit more disagreeable, and I want to be very conscientious. And so people go, good, this is what I'm going to try to do.
That's a measure of success. This is our perception of success.
Well, that's the whole thing. Okay, our perception of success looks only at our contribution and only in a small way. We basically look at money and fame. And we believe that that is success. And if people were able to, let's say, hold down a long-term relationship for 40, 50, 60 years.
That's
okay?
success, my
That's
gosh.
success.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
But I think anyone would say that's success though, still.
Yes, but the question is it valued?
Yeah, that's right. And is it the message we're getting from the media, or are we getting other lies about what success is from the media? And it's true, we are getting different lies.
The media will give us messages to keep us on the media.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But so I have worked with a lot of successful people as far as money and fortune is concerned.
Yeah.
But in their wake, they've left a whole lot of people broken relationships, basically, and so they often end up alone. Okay, is that success?
Yeah, and so maybe this is, and it's also, I mean, we've all said this, this person has a difficult personality,
Yes.
And we sort of define it as that, and then, so obviously, they should work on their personality, they should change their personality to be more agreeable or whatever it happens to be, so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's on a continuum.
Okay, yeah.
There are people out there, including you and me and most people watching, that have a disagreeable or a difficult aspect to their personality.
True.
Nobody is perfect.
True.
But in the grand scheme of things and how we get on with people, it's okay.
It's okay.
Get on with it.
That's right, yeah.
However, the people that I deal with are people who, let's say, have war trauma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or people who have been sexually abused as children, right? Like multiple times. They end up with aspects of their personality that they know are dysfunctional, that are in the way of their relationships, in their way of making a contribution.
Okay.
And I suppose this is what I work with, people who have deficits in their personality. And we work so that their personality becomes functional.
So in a way, is their mask, that, as you said, is it broken in that?
Okay, so just on the idea of a mask, in a way it's broken, okay? And so people don't like looking at it. It's
Yeah. That's such a great way to describe it. And that's the difficult personality or whatever. And it's hard to see that mask. It's broken.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, because scientifically what we know about the personality, that there's a lot that's been inherited, and there are a lot that, if people have difficult personalities, then something has happened in their lives to make it difficult. all of a sudden we can have a bit more compassion.
Yes.
It's not their fault.
Yes, there's always something behind it. Yeah.
But we still want to get on with that particular person, which is why psychologists and psychiatrists work with people's personality to make it more functional.
So when you're going back and you're looking at their personality, you've got the two sides. You've got the temperament, and then you've got the life experience. Do you go back to working on what that actual temperament, how, you know, that soul under there that is that temperament? Do you work on that, bringing that out more?
Well, the temperament you don't need to work on.
It's there. It's there.
Well, that's what also.
Or bringing it out more. Or,
yeah. It's like sort of saying, let's work on this hand. It's only got 5 fingers. Why don't we try to give it?
Yeah. It's just there.
It's there and it's fixed. However, if there's a finger or 2 broken, right, then we'll go, okay, let's fix those fingers so that they're functioning as well.
Okay.
So that's what happens in personality. If there's bits of the personality that are not functioning, we will work until that functions again.
Yeah.
But I don't have people coming in and sort of saying, oh, I'm too much of an introvert. Can you make me an extrovert too? It's a
so
bit
you
like,
haven't had anyone say, can you change my personality?
Well, a lot of people changing your personality.
Yeah.
But as far as the extras, so that I'm just sort of much better. Right? We'll talk about how we can actually do that.
Okay.
But trying to change those aspects of your personality is like trying to change your hand. It's like going into a surgeon and saying, could you please give me 7 fingers instead of 5?
Yeah. Okay.
Surgeons are not going to say yes to that.
No, that's true. So I want to go back to Jung, because you said that Jung said that, you know, there's no such thing as a good and a bad personality. They're just different personalities. Okay.
Yeah, all right, okay.
More or less. You said something like that.
I
Okay.
did.
So he just analysed and said, okay, there's this personality in it, and then did the categories and everything. So is that something that we need to accept about ourselves? I mean, sometimes it's harder for us to get along in society with a certain personality type, obviously. But
yes, it is.
Is it a matter of, what will tell us, is it a matter of acceptance? What is it?
So the best analogy is actually the body.
Okay.
I'm actually going to use your body because it's got certain things. Okay, what I mean is you have very fair skin.
I do.
You live in Australia.
Yes, crazy, because it's so darn hot here.
Skin cancer capital of the world.
Yes, particularly in Queensland where we live, yeah.
Do you need to make any adjustments to your body so that you can get by in Australia?
Yes, wear sunscreen all the time, wear hats, long sleeve when I'm driving, it just goes on and on and on. And I have to see a dermatologist once every 6 months to have a skin checkup.
So there's a lot of things that you do
to
get by in the society that you have.
That's right.
Just because of the body that you were born with.
Yes.
Okay. Do you like being judged for the body that you were born with?
No.
No, that's right. That's right. This is your body, okay? And in fact, what you like is to be able to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Because it's part of you.
Yes.
As a person. Same with a personality. If you are a person who, let's say, is very intrusive, okay? You speak really loudly, you get close to people, and you like telling people things and all of that.
Yeah.
If you live in a society where people are a bit more laid back, give a bit more space, and don't like their peace rocked a lot, then you need to make a few adjustments to get on with those people. Yeah. Now, that is different to saying there's something wrong with your personality, because there's nothing wrong with your personality. But to get on, you have to make these adjustments.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And we don't like having to make these adjustments, just like you don't like having to wear sunscreen every day or wear driving gloves or see a dermatologist all the time. But sometimes you just have to do it. Okay. So a personality is like that.
Okay. So we're talking about making adjustments and changing parts of our personality more to get along with other people, to function in this society, okay? But not necessarily to succeed. So you're saying, yes, we need to make some adjustments?
Well, okay. So are you actually adjusting your body? No, you're not. You still have fair skin, right? But to get by in Australia, there's this added burden that you've got, and you've just got to do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So same with the personality. We're not actually changing the personality. We're changing the way it comes across in a society that is hindering you. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Because we all want to get on. Yeah. All right. And we all want to contribute. Yeah. Okay. So we all want this. Okay. Here's a good way. So let's say we've got these clashes. Yeah. Let's say that's your pale skin in Australian sun. Okay. Yes. Your adjustments are these 2 notes, so all of a sudden it doesn't feel that bad. So same thing, if this is your personality clashing with other people's, if you make just a few adjustments, you go, oh, that's not too bad. We can actually work with that. We can actually get on with that. And so we all actually make these little adjustments to our personality.
Okay, good.
Some people will hide their personality. Some people will withdraw from other people. There are all certain things that you can do.
Okay, yeah. And we hear people saying, you know, well, I'm just being myself.
Yes.
So is the self the personality? Sorry.
No.
Just open up another can of worms here.
Actually.
You're excited.
I am excited. Because this is one of these conundrums in science. Okay, the self is a conundrum.
Yeah.
Because there's a debate in the scientific community as to whether the self exists or not. So if you're a materialist, reductionist scientist, so in other words, you believe that we're all just atoms and molecules, well, the self is something that you can't see. It can't be reduced to molecules. So there's this idea, the self does not exist. The self is a delusion. Whereas people who believe that the self exists, because we all experience the self.
Yes, that's right.
And I live and work as though the self exists, because for everybody that I've worked with, the self very much does exist. You've got to go, okay, if it exists, that means that there has to be something beyond atoms and molecules.
Yeah.
And as you know, there are scientists that believe there is something beyond atoms and molecules, and that this thing called consciousness is actually a way beyond all of that. But that is not scientific yet, right? Because that eventually leads through a very complex process in this idea of, oh, okay, so what exists? So we can either sort of say that a spirit world exists, God exists, or all possibilities exist, in which case you get to multiverses, right? And we have no evidence for all of those, right? We don't have any evidence against them yet either, right?
True.
But so we talked about the self. That is a bit of a conundrum. That I work with people assuming that the self exists, but it is not the personality.
Okay.
All right. So what is the self?
Yeah. Keep it.
There's a lot to explain.
I know. It's a big, it's a big one today.
I know, but it's exciting.
It is.
All right. So I explain to people that their body is a bit like a car that they drive. All right. You have a certain make, a certain model, a certain color, and certain scheme, things like that. The personality is like that as well. Okay. So whenever you say something like, "I don't like being shy," there's a part of you that is standing outside your personality, looking at your personality and saying, oh, I'm a little bit shy, and I don't like that. So one is the self, what we call the observing self, and the other one is the personality.
Yes.
And so the way I explain it is that your self is the driver, okay? And you can look at the car and say, I don't like that dent in the car. I don't like that color. I don't like those headlights. But this is your car, right? The way the self comes in is you can decide how you're going to drive and where you're going to drive. When you make those sort of decisions, you are being yourself.
Yes.
When you're saying, I don't like the tires, I don't like the color, you're complaining about your own personality.
Yeah.
And that's hard to change, right?
Okay, good. All right then. That standing out, observing self then.
Yes.
It's quite interesting because in theatre, actors do that all the time too. When they're on stage, they're either actor or character, and I've actually asked actors about this. Who are you? Are you the actor, are you character, or are you a blend of both? And they actually say that that's their aim, of course, is to get to that blend of both, or to completely embody the character. And
that's very interesting, because in a way that is a really good metaphor for how we get through life.
Yeah.
Using Shakespeare's metaphor, all of life is a stage.
Yes.
We watch ourselves as we live our life, and we ask ourselves, is this a decision that I want to make?
Yeah.
Am I doing what I want to be doing at the moment?
Yeah.
And so you are being the actor and you're being the character at the same time.
It's true. Yeah, very interesting.
Very
okay, so we've gotten to the point where, some adjustments are good to get on in life, to succeed with other people and such, but you don't have to change your personality to succeed.
Well,
I want to bring it back to that. So.
Okay. The bottom line is to be able to succeed as a person in relationship with other people,
Yes.
to contribute to society,
Yes.
to find meaning in your life. You don't have to change your personality. Now, what I'm doing is excluding the people who know that parts of their personality are broken because of difficult experiences, and I mean mainly war experiences and abuse experiences, right?
Yes.
And they come to me and say, I wish I wasn't such an angry person. In other words, their self looks at their personality and says, there's a lot of anger there, I don't like it, which means their self wants to change. And so we work on that.
Yeah.
And we work on that sometimes for years, and we get a lot of success. Okay, not all the success that people want, because it's difficult work, and this is why I think a lot of the people that I work with are heroes. I'm just amazed at the work that a lot of people do.
Most definitely, yeah.
And I got to tell you, they hate me saying that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do, because I don't want to do this work. I've got no choice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
you're making me do it.
well, they actually wish that the things didn't happen.
Yes,
that
of course.
Put them there.
Yeah. That's
All right,
really
but we're
hard.
talking about not having to change your personality, but what basically to do. So there's a lot of work on the internet about these are the personalities that succeed, and so there's a lot of people who go to work on their personality, try to change their personality, and then get very frustrated because they find that they cannot change their personality.
Yeah.
And I'll let you into a little secret. The personality problems and difficulties that I had with myself when I was 20, I still have now.
We've still got them. Yeah, I certainly do.
And that is basically true of everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, the things that you don't like about yourself in your teenage years or your early 20s,
Gonna be there.
So we're gonna talk about how to manage your personality.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna get to that. Okay, so it's more about managing your personality.
That's right.
Especially the things that you can't change. Okay,
right.
So that's part of the hope. Are we getting onto that section?
Yeah, we are, because I suppose the place that we've gotten to is the idea that my personality is like a car.
Yes.
I may not like the car that I'm born with.
Yeah.
But this is the car that I'm born with. It's like your body. If you have a body that's built like a sumo wrestler, and you want to become a basketball player, you're going to have a hard time of it.
Yeah.
Same thing if you've got a body like a basketball player and you want to become a sumo wrestler, right?
Yeah.
The trick, in a sense, is to find your niche. If you've got a body like a sumo wrestler, maybe sumo wrestling is for you.
Wow, maybe you were made that way. Maybe that's your best strength, you know.
But we tend not to value what we have. We always see it in somebody else and go, oh, I wish I
wish I was like that. I wish I was more like this. Yeah.
So the question is really not how can I change my personality, but how can I be the best me that I can be?
Yeah, good.
So that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right, so that's actually a good spot where... could you do the reading?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I've asked Caroline to do some reading from The Catcher in the Rye. Wonderful, famous book. Our protagonist is Holden Caulfield, and Holden is about 16, and he's just making that transition from childhood to adulthood. So in other words, he's working on his personality and he has all these experiences. And we're near the end of the book, and we're finding that what he really values in life is the innocence that he finds in his 10-year-old sister, Phoebe. So this section is Holden with his sister, Phoebe, in Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye.
I'm not sure old Phoebe knew what the hell I was talking about. I mean, she's only a little child and all, but she was listening, at least. If somebody at least listens, it's not too bad. You know that song, If a Body Catch a Body Coming Through the Rye? It's If a Body Meet a Body Coming Through the Rye, old Phoebe said. It's a poem by Robert Burns. I know it's a poem by Robert Burns. She was right, though. It is If a Body Meet a Body Coming Through the Rye. I didn't know it then, though. I thought it was If a Body Catch a Body, I said. Anyway, I keep picturing all these little kids playing some game in this big field of rye and all. thousands of little kids, and nobody's around, nobody big, I mean, except for me. And I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. What I have to do is I have to catch everybody as they start to go off the cliff. I mean, if they're running and they don't look where they're going, I have to come out from somewhere and catch them. That's all I'd do all day. I'd just be the catcher in the rye and all. I know it's crazy, but that's the only thing I'd really like to be. I know it's crazy. Old Phoebe still wouldn't talk to me or anything, but she was sort of walking next to me now. I took a hold of her belt at the back of her coat, just for the hell of it, but she wouldn't let me. She said, "Keep your hands to yourself if you don't mind." She was still so sore at me, but not as sore as she was before. Anyway, we kept on getting closer and closer to the carousel, and you could start to hear that nutty music it always plays. It was playing "Oh Marie." Played that same song about 50 years ago when I was a little kid. That's one nice thing about carousels. They always play the same songs. "I thought the carousel was closed in the winter time," old Phoebe said. It was the first time she practically said anything. She probably forgot she was supposed to be sore at me. "Maybe it's 'cause it's around Christmas," I said. She didn't say anything when I said that. She probably remembered she was supposed to be sore at me. "Do you want to go for a ride on it?" I said. I knew she probably did. When she was a tiny little kid and Allie and DB and I used to go to the park with her, she was mad about the carousel. Couldn't get her off the goddamn thing. "I'm too big," she said. I thought she wasn't going to answer me, but she did. "Here," I said, "wait a second, take the rest of the dough too." I started giving her the rest of the dough she'd lent me. "You keep it. Keep it for me," she said. Then she said right afterward, "Please." That's depressing. When somebody says please to you, I mean, if it's Phoebe or somebody, that depressed the hell out of me. But I put the dough back in the pocket. "Aren't you going to ride too?" she asked me. She was looking at me sort of funny. You could tell she wasn't too sore at me anymore. "Maybe I will the next time. I'll watch you," I said. "Got your ticket?" "Yes." "Go ahead then. I'll be right on this bench over here. I'll watch you." I went over and sat down on this bench, and she went and got on the carousel. She walked all around it. I mean, she walked once all the way around it. Then she sat down on this big, brown, beat-up-looking old horse. Then the carousel started, and I watched her go around and around. There were only about 5 or 6 other kids on the ride, and the song the carousel was playing was "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes." It was playing it really jazzy and funny. All the kids kept trying to grab for the gold ring, and so was old Phoebe, and I was sort of afraid she'd fall off the goddamn horse, but I didn't say anything or do anything. The thing with kids is if they want to grab for the gold ring, you have to let them do it and not say anything. If they fall off, they fall off. But it's bad if you say anything to them. When the ride was over, she got off her horse and came over to me. "You ride too this time," she said. "No, I'll just watch you. I think I'll just watch," I said. I gave her some more of the dough. "Here, get some more tickets." She took the dough off me. "I'm not mad at you anymore," she said. "I know. Hurry up. The thing's going to start again." Then all of a sudden she gave me a kiss. Then she held out her hand and said, "It's raining. It's starting to rain." "I know." Then what she did, it damn near killed me. She reached in my coat pocket and took out my red hunting hat and put it on my head. "Don't you want it?" I said. "You can wear it a while." "Okay, hurry up though, you're going to miss your ride. You won't get your own horse or anything." She kept on hanging around though. "Did you mean what you said? You really aren't going away anymore? Are you really going home afterwards?" she asked me. "Yeah," I said, and I meant it too. I wasn't lying to her. I really did go home afterwards. "Hurry up now," I said, "the thing's starting." She ran and bought her ticket and got back on the goddamn carousel just in time. Then she walked all the way around it till she got back to her own horse. Then she got on it. She waved to me and I waved back. Boy, it began to rain like a bastard, in buckets, I swear to God. All the parents and mothers and everyone went right over and stood right under the roof of the carousel so they wouldn't get soaked to the skin or anything. But I stuck around on the bench for a while. I got pretty soaking wet, especially my neck and my pants. My hunting hat really gave me quite a lot of protection in a way, but I got soaked anyway. I didn't care, though. I felt so damn happy all of a sudden. The way old Phoebe kept going around and around, I was damn near bawling. I felt so damn happy, if you want to know the truth. I don't know why. It was just that she looked so damn nice, the way she kept going around and around in her blue coat and all. God, I wish you could have been there.
Thank you. Love the way you read. I just love the way you read. We're at the same last chapter.
Yeah.
And Holden finds that he values innocence.
Yeah.
And the innocence in his sister Phoebe.
Yeah.
And that actually sets him up for a pretty optimistic ending to this novel, because he's gone through some horrible experiences.
Yeah.
And at this time of his life, he's 16, it's finding what he values that moves him forward to something optimistic. That's my reading of the end anyway. I know that there are other readings of this very complex novel.
Okay, so how does that tie to personality and the hope then?
Well, the hope is how we can actually change to succeed. But it's not our personality that we have to change, because anybody who tries that will find how difficult it is and how frustrating. But what we in psychiatry and psychology know is that at any time you can change your values. And when you find what you value and live being committed to your values, regardless of your personality, then you will find you'll be able to succeed more. Okay, I'm not going to say that it's easy. It's not just a little decision. So finding your values, knowing your values, just as Holden found out at the moment, innocence. Yeah. And he takes that into the last chapter.
He does,
all right. So when I work with somebody, I work with them to find out what their values are. What do you really want in life?
Yes.
Okay. What motivates you? Okay. What do you admire in yourself or other people?
Can you say those things again, just slowly, so that we can... Okay. Sorry, I broke in there. There were 4.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Slowly, so they write them down.
See, Caroline knows these are my 4 questions to ask yourself.
Write them down.
To find out what your values are.
Yeah, go ahead. Say them slowly here.
Mars, M-A-R-S.
Okay,
Number 1 is what motivates you.
Yes.
Number 2 is what do you admire in yourself and others. Number 3 is what do you believe is the right thing to do. And number 4 is when are you filled with satisfaction and self-respect.
Okay.
Right? So motivation, what you admire, what you believe the right thing to do is, and when you're filled with satisfaction and self-respect, will point you towards your values.
Yes.
Right? Honesty, loyalty, fun, pleasure, all of these are values, right? And there are some that we agree on, but some that we don't. And the nice thing about values is you make it for yourself. Yeah. And then you sort of go, right, and you've got to have a list of about 10 or 12. How can I use this to work on my goals, the decisions that I make, and how I behave to guide me? Yeah. And then you'll actually find it's a lot easier. It still takes effort, all right? Yeah. Okay, this is still a lot of work, but it's much, much easier than the damn near impossible task of changing your personality. Because if you're an extrovert or an introvert, if you're an honest, loyal introvert or extrovert, people will want you on their side. Yeah, yeah. Okay? So it's the values that drive how we get together. It's a whole lot more. It's
actually a little bit deeper, isn't it? It's like it's really being true to yourself then.
Yes, you're being true to the driver.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
So if you're in your car, the question is, where do I want to drive? Yeah. And how do I want to drive? Yeah. Because that will determine how you get treated when you're on the highway. Yeah, yeah. Right? If you're a rat driver, I'm sorry, people are going to be beeping at you and all sorts of stuff. Okay? But if you're a more courteous driver, you'll find yourself getting on with other drivers really well. And the important thing is, I believe, to be able to go as far as it's up to you where you want to go.
Great. Well, let's let Shakespeare have the last word. This, above all else, be true to thine own self.
Yes.
Well, to thine own self be true. Sorry, I misquoted there. To thine own self be true.
Yes. And that means knowing your values.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of information on values all over the place. I talk a lot about values. There's a lot of psychological systems that talk a lot about values. Positive psychology, acceptance and commitment therapy.
Yeah.
Values are very important.
Okay. Great, good, okay, fantastic. Well, this was quite a in-depth discussion. I hope that it was very, I know exactly, you have gone through it, used so many definitions. Okay, we will get you a dog one day, okay? I know you love dogs.
What do you mean? I am a dog.
Okay, thank you.
Dogs. Hunties.
Enough,
well.
all right,
Okay.
let me go. Okay, you're doing it again. Little bit of housekeeping. If you've got any questions, anything, please pop them in now. We do have a question from last week, and actually I've got it written down here. So
good.
This came up in one of the videos actually, and it's actually more to do with COVID. So how do isolated people cope with depression?
This is actually a very important question because a lot of people will find themselves isolated.
Yeah.
And depression is just lurking around the corner.
Yes.
Firstly, it depends on how severely depressed you are. If your depression is at the stage where you're feeling unsafe, you're getting thoughts of doing away with yourself, please find out what hotline phone numbers there are or who you can talk to about that. Do not keep those things to yourself. Keep your own safety paramount, okay? If you find that you're getting depressed and it really means that you're just not getting up out of bed, you don't have any energy, you're not enjoying anything in life at all, right? Your sleep's disturbed, all those sort of things.
Yes.
It may be time to talk to somebody about that and to go for steps to see a counselor or a psychologist or a psychiatrist is a good idea.
Even online, obviously, and there's a lot of services out there now, yeah.
And look at what you can do online. Again, depression is something that I talk a lot about because it's what we do a lot in psychiatry and psychology, and there is a lot of information of what you can do, but again, keep yourself safe. However, what this pod show is about is prevention. So there are things that you can do to prevent getting depressed in the first place.
Yes.
And there were the two things that we talked about, was it last week or the week before? Basically, to disconnect as much as you can from here, to find meaning, and I know I'm going to 3, and to connect with people. And the most important of those is actually to connect with people. Connect with people via telephone, via the internet, via text, by saying hello to people around you, even neighbors that you may not know. That all really helps. And then again on the internet, you'll find a list of things that you can do to help prevent depression in your life. Everything from pet therapy to board games that you can play to exercising. Exercise. We have many studies that show that exercise is protective against depression. But the main message that I want to leave you with is don't let it go. Take care of yourself according to the level of severity that is appropriate to you. Thank you so much for your question.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any other questions coming in at the moment. So I did want to tell you that next week we are having a special Christmas late night lies. There will be a lie though about Christmas. Is it about Christmas or? It's
got to do with Christmas.
It's got to do with Christmas, okay? So there will be a lie. We wouldn't let you down and not have a lie. No way. Okay, so
We're here to lie to you.
That's right. There's going to be lots more lies coming. But we would love you to join us for our Christmas special next week. That's, well, you know the times anyway. And do join us again. And please tell people, invite them along to our Christmas special next week, and we'll have more music and everything. And tell people about our pod show, subscribe to us online, and then you'll get the notifications. But talking about music, we are always finishing off with some music. So what's our music for today, Christian?
Caroline's been trying to work out why I've been walking around in sackcloth and ashes for the last couple of days. My mood's just been down a bit.
It has.
And that's because of the anniversary that we have this particular week. It is 40 years, almost to the day, that we lost John Lennon. And that happened at a time in my life when I was about Holden's age. And, okay, I was a teenager and I was into music a lot. So I knew all my Beatles songs. I knew all the lyrics. I knew a lot about John Lennon. And then all of a sudden, somebody shoots him and he's gone. All right. And those of you in the know that there's a connection to Catcher in the Rye in this somehow, okay? If not, you can look for that one. But what I thought I would do is, in our quest to look for values, I would put together about 5 or 6 John Lennon songs, songs that he wrote with McCartney and Lennon for about 10 years. Any song that John Lennon and Paul McCartney wrote together, they just said by Lennon and McCartney. But through comments that they've made, we know which ones John Lennon wrote and which ones Paul McCartney wrote. So I've chosen songs that are purely John Lennon. And to relate it to values, I want you to imagine what your values may be. I've forgotten the next song now, haven't I? Okay. So
it happens.
I want you to know. This is another one. Okay. So imagine what your values could be. Be aware of what you love in this world, because what you love will also point you to your values. Then reach for the sky, reach for a kaleidoscope of possibilities with your values. Otherwise, you will find yourself nowhere. But you want to work towards peace and use that fertile garden of your mind forever. So that's my medley of John Lennon songs.
Okay. has been Dr. Caroline Heim and Dr. Christian Heim for Late Night Lies. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.